here today. I'm William Perno. I'm an alcohol and other drug prevention specialist with SAY San Diego. Work closely with San Diego Alliance, and we have a prevention system in the County of San Diego. I'm also a retired San Diego County Deputy Sheriff, so shout out to the deputies in the back of the room there. So I'm going to be talking to you about naloxone or Narcan. What I'm going to teach you now can be used to reverse an opioid overdose and save a person's life. I do want to note that some of the slides in this presentation are courtesy of James Fontaine here, and also from a New Path, which is a harm reduction coalition that taught me how to teach others how to use naloxone. So we're funded by the county, so no cost for me to be here. We'll have handouts in the back of the room, Narcan for you. I hope you'll take that information, and as everyone is saying here, share what you know with your friends, your family, your circles, because there's still a great lack of awareness about what's happening with fentanyl. And we can come to the schools, we can do this exact same type of training. We can train staff, parents, and students, and equip them with Narcan or naloxone at no cost. So we're funded by the county. Some of the information you may see today is copyrighted. This is just saying we are sharing it with you under a fair use notice for educational purposes. I wanted to share, this is Jaime Porta. You saw him on Dead on Arrival. This is his organization called Stop the Void. And some of you can see the parents who have lost their children and young adults from what they say are deals that occurred on Snapchat. On the upper left is Alexander, age 14. Amy was Alexander's mom and Dead on Arrival. Two to the right is Daniel, died at age 16. That's Jaime's son. First responders and accidentally touching fentanyl. Your skin is a very good barrier. We need to acknowledge that fentanyl on your skin by itself isn't going to absorb through quickly, if at all. And if you have something on your hands, we can decontaminate with soap and water. What we have to be careful of is if we get something on our fingertips, whether we're wearing gloves or bare skin, then inadvertently throughout the day we touch our eyes, nose, and mouth. We have mucous membranes in those areas, so more blood flow. That's the risk for people that are not intentionally ingesting these drugs, the risk for exposure to fentanyl. So despite what you hear on the news, simply touching fentanyl is not going to cause an overdose. We don't want that to prevent you from helping someone. The other risk factor would be if there's a loose powder, there's an airflow that might kick it up and you inhale that into your lungs where you have lots of blood vessels. But soap and water, avoid alcohol-based hand sanitizers, wipes, or bleach. That can increase the absorption into the body. So opioid overdoses, what's happening? As James explained, we use opioids for pain. We can use opioids for reducing anesthesia, for surgery. But if we give a person a little bit too much of those opioid drugs, that's the same part of our brain that controls our breathing. We don't have to tell ourselves to breathe. Our body does that for us. So where we depress that area, breathing can become slow, erratic, or stop. That is how opioid drugs kill. They stop our breathing and we die from lack of oxygen. So I want to show you a short video. This is from the Sheriff's Department. I'll make everything available in this presentation to Peggy here as a PDF, so if you like what you're seeing here, share this video. The link is right there.
This video will show you how to give naloxone in an overdose situation. If someone won't wake up and you suspect an overdose, call 911 immediately and provide the address of your emergency. Now it's time to administer naloxone. Remove the medicine from its packaging. Tilt the person's head back and provide support under the neck with your hand. Hold the nasal spray with your thumb on the plunger. Gently insert the tip of the nozzle into either nostril. Press the plunger firmly to release the dose. Empty the entire container, then remove the nasal spray. Roll the person on their side. If possible, place their hands under their head and bend their upper leg forward. This is the recovery position. It keeps the person from rolling onto their stomach so they won't choke in case they vomit. If the person is still not waking up, provide rescue breathing or CPR. Place the person on their back. Tilt their chin up and open the airway. Pinch their nose with one hand and give 2 breaths. Repeat, give 1 breath every 5 seconds. Give chest compressions. If they regain consciousness, be aware that some patients might wake up disoriented or agitated. Give them space. If they don't respond or wake up within 2 or 3 minutes, give additional doses of naloxone, switching between nostrils. It's safe to administer as much naloxone as necessary. If opioids are not involved with the overdose, naloxone will not cause an increment. Each nasal spray pump is for 1 use only. Stay with the person until help arrives. Naloxone is not a substitute for medical care. The effects of naloxone are temporary and last only 30 minutes. There's still a danger of overdosing once the medication wears off. This is why it's important you stay with the person until they go to the hospital. Recognizing the signs of an overdose is as easy as ABC. A. Awareness. A person experiencing an overdose will have difficulty walking and talking. They look dazed, drowsy, confused, or unconscious. B. Breathing. Breathing is slow or absent. They're choking, snoring, or making gurgling sounds. C. Color. Opioids can deprive your body of oxygen. Their skin feels cold or clammy. Their lips, skin, or fingertips are pale, ashen, purple, or blue. Once you recognize the signs of an opioid overdose, it's time to act. Never hesitate. California law protects a person who is overdosing or the person helping from legal trouble. If you or someone you know is struggling with an opioid addiction or is in treatment, you can get free naloxone, no questions asked. Visit our website for a sheriff's station, substation, or public health clinic near you. There are several factors that can increase a person's risk of overdosing. Taking too many painkillers, mixing painkillers with alcohol or other drugs, taking illegal or street drugs laced with dangerous substances, a change in your tolerance level. Preventing overdose deaths starts with all of us. For more information on prevention and treatment programs, call the National Crisis Hotline at 988. You can also call 211 San Diego by dialing 211 or the County Crisis Hotline at 888-724-7240. These resources are confidential and available 24 hours per day. Remember, this spray can save a life.
So those overdose signs and symptoms, opioid drugs will constrict the pupils. So we'll see tiny pupils, a dark part of the eye, cold clammy skin, blue lips or nails, may hear some really weird breathing sounds as that breathing is shutting down. Choking, gurgling, strange snoring type sounds as the body's fighting for life there, foaming at the mouth. Slower, no breathing, and we can't wake that person up. We can shake their shoulder, tap their foot, say something alarming, no response. There's one more thing we can try. It's called a sternum rub. You take your hand and make a fist, take these knuckles, put them right in the middle of your chest. Try this right now, it'll wake you up. Rub really hard on your sternum. It's a pain stimuli, it's not gonna feel good. But remember what opioids do. They take away pain, they can induce anesthesia so you don't feel anything at all. Again, using naloxone, Narcan, super simple. This is a training device here. I'm holding it in my hand. The part that's sticking up above my fingertips, it's the part that goes inside the person's nostril. Once it's inside the nostril, fingertips touch the bottom of the nose. Good firm press on this plunger, leave it in there for about 5 seconds. Medication's gonna come out as a mist. 1 dose of medication in each of these devices. There'll be 2 of these devices in each box of naloxone. It's that simple. Every 2 minutes, if we don't see a response from that person, we'll give another dose. Just switch to the opposite nostril and then back and forth. So if you have more than 1 box of Narcan, you can keep giving this every 2 minutes until you see a response from that person. And in some of the cases for first responders, they've had to give up to 8 doses of Narcan to one person to try and revive them. I want to make sure everyone understands that this can reverse an opioid overdose, but sometimes it may not be enough. How long has a person gone without breathing? What's the damage that's been done to the central nervous system? If a person stops breathing in as little as 4 to 6 minutes, brain cells stop dying. Start dying, we can't get those back, and by 10 minutes, the person could be dead. So if you know CPR, rescue breathing, those are skills that can also be employed with that naloxone to keep the person alive. And there are things such as CPR masks, a barrier over the person's face, you're not exchanging air with them. There are pocket masks, there are keychain masks that you can carry, so you have that mask with you. So once that naloxone gets to the opioid receptor on the brain, our brains prefer that medication over the opioid drug. So it's going to effectively kick the opioid drug off the opioid receptor and take its place. We're hoping that that's going to restore that person's breathing because it was the opioid drug on that receptor that was causing them the breathing to slow or stop. Now, 2 key things to note. This does not eliminate or neutralize that drug. It just kicks it off that receptor and then blocks it from coming back. But the block on the body on that receptor is only going to be for about 30 minutes, maybe 90 minutes at the most. Some of the opioid drugs can last in the body for up to 12 hours. So when this wears off, that overdose can come back when the drug reattaches to the opioid receptors. People need to go to the hospital and be monitored afterwards. Who can you use it on? Naloxone can be used on pregnant women, babies over 28 days of age, children, teens, adults, no matter what age they are, look for those opioid signs and symptoms. Intentional drug use or accidental exposure. Our toddlers and infants are crawling around. Everything they find on the ground, they pick up and put in their mouth. So we've seen accidental overdoses and deaths happening from those exposures. You may also have elderly relatives. They're taking pain medications. They become forgetful, may double or triple up on the real opioid pain medications from a pharmacy. This will work on those drugs as well. They're opioids, it'll work. Then expiration date will be on the top of the box. It'll be good 1 year past that expiration date. If you ever have a choice between expired Narcan or no Narcan at all, use the expired Narcan. It's probably still going to work. It may not be 100% strength, but it's better than nothing. Temperature rating on the side of the box. I want to try and keep this at 77 degrees or below. Don't go above 104 degrees, so don't leave this in your car with all the sunlight coming into the passenger windows where it gets really hot in there. Easy to open up this box. Take these devices that are inside the box, there's 2 of them. Put it in a purse, a backpack, a cooler, a lunch pail, easy to carry with you. A set of instructions are inside each of these devices. And if you forget everything I'm telling you in a stressful situation, know you can open up the front cover of the box, set of instructions in here as well. So 3 different ways to get that information. And I'm trying to protect this from light. Over the counter now, it's available. I took the picture on the right about 2.5 weeks ago at a pharmacy. So it's the same exact product, it's just been repackaged, it's about $45 a box. We want to give you this for free today. And again, if there's one wish I could have for you, it's that every home have a box of naloxone in it. This is a video from the California Department of Public Health. You can teach others how to use this product as well. A good resource to have. We're going to watch a quick video here. You're going to see a person overdosing. This person is going to be saved by first responders. The voice you're going to hear after a couple of seconds will be the person's voice that overdosed. He went back and did a voiceover with them afterwards. You're going to hear him talking about how he got exposed to opioids, what's going on in his life. You're going to see the firefighters do that sternum rub on him. His whole body will be moving. You'll see them give him naloxone through a nasal application. Same type, it's a syringe-based device with the same effect. You'll hear him take his first breaths afterwards.
You guys have your back covered?
Breathing, good to know. This could kill me, bro. There's a chance I'm gonna get high. That's sick, you know what I mean? The opioid addiction started when I played football and I got injured. I got prescribed painkillers, which was Percocet, Oxycontin. You start liking it. So I started having to buy them off the street, man, and come to find out, heroin was cheaper.
Try it. Come on. Come on. Keep breathing. Come on.
I'm passionate about my recovery, man. I mean, I want to succeed. I want to fall back into the pit, you know what I'm saying? Not be able to climb out. I barely climbed out this time.
So again, think about the Narcan naloxone, like your smoke alarm and fire extinguisher that I hope you have at home. Hope that you never need it, but it's there in case of an emergency. Same with Narcan. So please understand that it could be anyone, anywhere that's suffering from an opioid overdose. The Narcan I've given to people has absolutely been used to save lives. In one case, a couple put that in the girlfriend's purse and they were in line in a movie theater. Someone dropped in the line at the movie theater and the friend that was with that person was yelling, "Who's got Narcan?" They had Narcan and they could use that to revive that person. But remember, especially talking to youth, I don't want them to think that because you have Narcan or they have Narcan that it's a free pass and that they're protected, because there are other drugs that can cause an opioid overdose that are a drug overdose or not an opioid. And this medication, naloxone, will only work on those opioids. So benzodiazepines, alcohol, other types of drugs that are not an opioid, this won't help in that situation there. But it will help with an opioid if it's given in time. When they come to, let them know what's happening. They may have no idea that they've overdosed. As you see, it could be a withdrawal. They have a substance use disorder because we're blocking the opioid receptor. They're going to feel like they don't have that drug in their body. Monitor their breathing. Again, the medication can wear off. Overdose can come back. Some people may refuse to go to the hospital. It's a bad idea because that overdose can come back. They may also have fluid or vomit in their lungs. That can cause a lot of damage. Barriers to calling 911 for our youth. It's worried about getting in trouble from parents, from the school, from police. For adults, fear of legal risks, outstanding warrants, child protective services, deportation, loss of public housing. Immigration status is never an issue if someone is calling 911 for a medical emergency to report a crime or calling law enforcement, a non-emergency line. Immigration is not asked about those situations because law enforcement knows that if that was an issue, people wouldn't call and report and other groups would prey upon those populations. But unfortunately, I know of people that have lost their lives because someone was afraid to call because they were worried about immigration status. So again, this is something to make the community aware of. For our military, zero tolerance, kicked out for a positive drug test. For college students, they can lose their federal financial aid for a positive drug test. This is California Health and Safety Code 11376.5. This is an overdose protection law. I'm curious, who in this room has heard of this law before? Raise your hand. Great, I see some hands up here. Good, but the majority of you haven't. This law's been around since 2013. It's just been updated. Now, whenever I give this presentation to youth, young adults, I always say this is not a free pass to go out and use drugs and get high. This is about calling 911 when there's a drug overdose and saving that person's life. What does the law say? It's not going to be a crime to be under the influence of drugs, that's being high, or possess drugs for personal use, controlled substances, or drug paraphernalia if they're calling 911 for a drug overdose, calling for medical help. Who does the law protect? It protects the person overdosing and one or more other people at the scene that are helping, doing CPR, rescue breathing, using Narcan. Now this law is not absolute. It won't protect the drug dealer. It won't protect people from other drug-related crimes like driving under the influence when that motor vehicle becomes a deadly weapon. But this is a good law. It's just been updated. Now if you have a smartwatch, like the Apple Watch, and your pulse drops, it'll call 911 for you. The law's been updated now to say if the watch calls on your behalf, you're going to be protected under this law. And a new provision that's going to take effect in January for that provision as well will be if you have drugs that you suspect are adulterated with some other type of drug, you can turn them into law enforcement or to a public health office with no questions asked for that. Again, this law's been around since January 1 of 2013, but it's not widely known. This is Chief Kennedy from Chula Vista Police Department talking about the law.
Hi, I'm Roxana Kennedy, Chief of Police for the Chula Vista Police Department, and I'm here to ask for your help by saving lives during this opioid crisis. Individuals who have overdosed are being left to die because those around them are afraid to call for help. California's Good Samaritan law protects those who call 911 when they are present during an overdose. On behalf of law enforcement, please make that emergency call. You plus naloxone are a combination that will save lives in San Diego County, and you have the ability to make a difference. Thank you.
Prevention, treatment, harm reduction. I'm a prevention specialist, retired deputy sheriff. I hope people are on the left side of the column there. Not using substances, in treatment, recovery. Recovery does happen. We have mental health resources there, adverse childhood experience resources, support groups, medication-assisted treatments. We have good medication-assisted treatments for opioid use disorders and therapies. But if you know someone on the right side that's going to continue to use drugs from the streets, illicit substances, we have to teach them to never use alone. And I have to clarify that now to say that doesn't mean 3, 4, 5 people get together and use drugs together, because the risk is 3, 4, 5 people will overdose and die together. And I've seen situations where 5 people have died at the same time because there was no one there to intervene, no one there to call 911. And if you're unconscious, not breathing, you can't use Narcan on yourself. So some of the death investigations, we're finding Narcan right at the scene, but it wasn't deployed because the person was by themselves. So there's designated driver back in the day before we had all the ride shares. We had a sober person who could take us from place to place. We didn't have to risk driving under the influence. That's where we're back to now with substance use. If someone is going to still take those risks. There are fentanyl test strips. I have those. They can detect fentanyl, but again, it depends where that fentanyl is mixed in the powder. On a pill, you're supposed to dissolve the entire pill, as James was explaining how that fentanyl is going to be mixed not equally in there, but people don't do that. They may chip off a part of the pill, and that part that they test may not be the part that has the fentanyl in it. Narcan naloxone we've covered, and there's needle exchanges, and we've talked about the overdose protection law. This is a phone number people can call. Maybe you know someone in your circles, family, or friends that's still out there using by themselves. This phone number they can call, never use alone. They can give a fake name. They can, they want your phone number and the location where you're at. A person's going to use that substance. If they become unresponsive, they're going to send first responders to that location. The challenge with that is, we're back to a person that may stop breathing. In that 4 to 6 minutes, brain cells are dying. By 10 minutes, they can die. What is the response time for first responders? And how hard will it be to find that person when they get there? So those are all considerations to take into account. That's my quote: where there's life, there's hope. So that person that gets revived goes to the hospital. They can enter into treatment right at the hospital now. There's bridge programs. They can start those medication-assisted treatments, good ones for opioid use disorder, and recovery is possible. Recovery does happen. Let's talk about resources real quick. Access Crisis Line, 888-724-7240. Make sure your families know those numbers, especially your kids. They're never alone. There's always help at the end of a phone call. 211-988 is the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Here's a link for substance use disorder treatment resources in San Diego County. This is where you can get Narcan at no cost. Any of the county public health, regional public health centers, you can see where they're at here, as well as your sheriff stations. You can go in there. Deputies, are you carrying Narcan in your patrol cars for people? You can distribute that. So you see a deputy, wait until they're done with the call that they're working on. Don't go, hey man, I need that Narcan while they're doing business. But ask them, hey, do you have Narcan? You can get it right from there, no questions asked. As well as more information at the link there. Treatment and counseling services throughout the county. Prescription drug abuse prevention there. We have drop boxes in pharmacies and in our law enforcement stations now that you can dispose of unused or expired medications. Don't keep those in your medicine cabinet in your bathroom. That's an access point. Put them in a lockbox instead. Put them up in a high shelf in your closet where your little ones don't have access to them, because anyone that comes over to use your bathroom and closes your door has privacy and access. That's also an access point for our youth. Take Back Day, coming up on October 28th, locations throughout the county. Peggy and her team will have those flyers to send out to you. Dead on Arrival, I put the link in there to the video. It's on YouTube. There's the direct links for English and Spanish for you. And again, I wholeheartedly agree that's the most powerful video I've seen about the fake pills and what's happening with fentanyl in our youth. Free resources, again, no cost for us to do this. Ask your schools a couple of questions. How much Narcan do they have on campus? If we haven't been there, chances are the nurse has 2 boxes, 4 doses for the entire school. We can change that. We can come out and we can provide this education to staff, to parents, to students, and we can do that anywhere in the county. This is my contact information. I'll also have some resources on the back of the room there to have for you to take with you, as well as a Did You Know flyer that has my contact information on it, as well as some brochures about the overdose protection law, fentanyl, and how to use Narcan. The last thing we have is this anonymous Narcan distribution form. Super easy to fill out, nothing on here to identify you. Again, I hope that you'll see me, grab one of those forms. In the back, I've got pens, I've got paper, super easy to fill out. Upper left, where the highlight is for the date, today's date is October 11th, so 10/11/23. On the right, check the box that says new recipient. Race, ethnicity, gender identity, age group there. You can put what applies, or decline to state. And in the bottom red box, with that arrow there, on your form it's gonna be gray. Remember that box, because that's where we're gonna put the number 1. That tells me to give you 1 box of Narcan. And I'll exchange that form for a box of Narcan. Super easy to do. If someone has gotten Narcan before in the community, you'll just check the box that says refill, where the pink purplish color is, and then the reason for the refill. But if you've never gotten Narcan in a situation like this, just check the box for new recipient. And that's it for me. Thank you very much. I'll leave that slide up.